Okay, so this is the Daf Yomi. This is Daf 38 of Shevuot. We're going to do Amud Aleph in this video. So it says, rather, no inference is to be learned from the Mishnah. The Mishnah teaches, what is the case of an oath on a deposit? It is where the claimant said to the defendant, give me my deposit, which is in your possession. And the defendant replied, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession. Or the defendant said to him, nothing of yours is in my possession. The claimant responded, I administer an oath to you, and the defendant said, Amen. In either case, this defendant is liable to bring a guilt offering if he lied. The Mishnah then discusses a case where 5 people sued him, and he took an oath denying all of their claims. With regard to this case, the sages taught in a Braita, if he included all the denials in one oath, he is liable for only one false oath. If he specified them, he is liable for his oath concerning each and every claim. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says that if he said, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession, and nothing of yours, and nothing of yours, he is liable for his oath concerning each and every person's claim. So the Braita continues, Rabbi Eliezer says that only if he said, nothing of yours is in my possession, and nothing of yours is in my possession, and nothing of yours is in my possession on my oath, he said the word oath at the end, he is liable for his oath concerning each and every claim. Rabbi Shimon says he is not liable for his oath concerning each individual claim unless he says, on my oath, to each and every claimant. And Rabbi Shimon is the lone voice there. Okay, so Shmuel and Rabbi Yochanan disagree with regard to the dispute between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda says that Shmuel says the phrasing where one uses the conjunction and between denials is considered by Rabbi Meir to be a general denial and is considered by Rabbi Yehuda to be a specific denial. And the phrasing where one refrains from using the connotation and is considered by Rabbi Yehuda to be a general denial and is considered by Rabbi Meir to be a specific denial. Language is very specific in the Talmud. So Rabbi Yochanan says, all concede in a case where the defendant says, nothing of yours, that is to be considered specific, and he is liable for his oath concerning each claim, even Rabbi Meir. So they disagree with regard to a case where the defendant said, nothing of yours, without the conjunctive and. As Rabbi Meir says, it is considered specific, and Rabbi Yehuda says it is considered general. And what is the case of a general denial according to Rabbi Meir, where one is liable for only one oath? It is the case where the defendant says in the plural, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession. So the Gemara asks, with regard to what they disagree, that they explain the opinion of Rabbi Meir differently. The Gemara responds, Shmuel inferred his explanation from the Braita, and Rabbi Yochanan inferred his explanation from the Mishnah. The Gemara explains, Shmuel inferred his explanation from the Braita as follows. From the fact that Rabbi Yehuda says that the phrase, and nothing of yours, is considered a specific denial for which one is liable for his oath concerning each and every claim, one may conclude by inference that Rabbi Yehuda understood that Rabbi Meir said that it is considered a general denial, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda disagreed and said to him, no, it is considered a specific denial. So Rabbi Yochanan says in response to this inference that the Braita can be explained differently. Both phrases, nothing of yours and nothing of yours, are deemed specific denials by Rabbi Meir. And Rabbi Yehuda said to him, with regard to and nothing of yours, that phrase, I guess, I concede to you that it is considered specific. But with regard to nothing of yours, I disagree with you and consider it a general denial. And Shmuel would respond, if that is so, then why does Rabbi Yehuda state in the Braita the instance in which he concedes to Rabbi Meir? Instead of conceding, let him disagree and state the instance in which they differ. The Gemara proceeds to explain the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabbi Yochanan inferred his explanation from the Mishnah as follows. From the fact that Rabbi Meir, who is the Tana associated with unattributed statements in the Mishnah, says, if he addressed all the claimants and said, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession, it is deemed a general denial. One may conclude by inference that a denial phrased, and nothing of yours, is deemed specific, as it would enter your mind that Rabbi Meir also deems nothing of yours to be a general denial. Then instead of teaching us that when one states in the plural, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession, it is deemed general. Let him teach us that when one states, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession, and nothing of yours, so each person individually, and nothing of yours, it is general, And all the more so, it would be clear that when one states in the plural, speaking to everybody, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession, it is considered general when he's talking to a crowd or a group of people. Okay, and Shmuel says that one may interpret the statement of Rabbi Meir as follows. Anyone who says, and nothing of yours, is considered as though he says in the plural, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession. So, let's see. The Gemara attempts to bring a proof for the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. We learned in the Mishnah that if the defendant said, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession, and nothing of yours, and nothing of yours, so like he's talking to multiple parties, or individuals, he is liable for his oath concerning each and every claim that he falsely denied. Evidently, Rabbi Meir deems, and nothing of yours, to be specific. The Gemara rejects the proof, amend the language of the Mishnah, and teach nothing of yours, and nothing of yours. So each person individually. Okay. Tashema, the Gemara suggests, come in here an additional proof from that which is taught in the Mishnah. In a case where the claimant says, give me back my deposit in pledge in stolen item, in lost item, four things, that are in your possession, and the defendant responds, on my oath, I do not have in my possession your deposit or pledge or stolen item or lost item, he is liable for his oath concerning each and every claim. Evidently, using the conjunction or, Rabbi Meir deems the denial specific, counter to the explanation of Shmuel. So the Gemara rejects the proof, amend the language of the Mishnah, and teach, on my oath, you do not have a deposit, a pledge, a stolen item, or a lost item in my possession. The Gemara suggests, Tashema, come in here, another proof from the Mishnah, in a case where the claimant said, give me back my wheat and barley and spelt that are in your possession. If the defendant responds, on my oath, nothing of yours is in my possession, he is liable for only one false oath. But if he responds, on my oath, I do not have in my possession your wheat or barley or spelt, he is liable for his oath concerning each and every claim. The Mishnah is therefore counter to the explanation of Shmuel. The Gemara rejects the proof, again, amend the language of the Mishnah, and teach wheat, barley, spelt, without the conjunction or. The Gemara asks, but could it be that this Tana errs so much as he teaches in the Mishnah? The Gemara offers an alternative explanation. According to Shmuel, the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Rather, in accordance with whose opinion is this Mishnah? It is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, who says there is no difference if one says an olive bulk or an olive bulk or an olive bulk. And there is no difference if one says in olive bulk and in olive bulk. Both are considered specific formulations. The Gemara suggests, Tashema, come and hear a proof from Rabbi Meir's own statement in the Mishnah. Rabbi Meir says, even if the defendant says, on my oath, I do not have in my possession your grain of wheat, or grain of barley, or grain of spelt, he is liable for his oath concerning each and every claim. Certainly, the conjunction or renders the denial specific according to Rabbi Meir, counter to the explanation of Shmuel. The Gemara rejects the proof, amend the language in the Mishnah, and teach, on my oath, I do not have in my possession a grain of wheat, a grain of barley, a grain of spelt of yours. The Gemara explains, what novelty is there in a case where one takes an oath in this manner? And Rabbi Meir says, even. Rab Acha, son of Rab Ika, said, even the singular form for wheat includes much wheat, and the singular form for barley includes much barley, and the singular form for spelt includes much spelt. Although the defendant refers to the grains in the singular, his denial is referring to all wheat, all barley, and all spelt. Okay, continuing, the Mishnah teaches, give me back my deposit and pledge and stolen item and lost item that are in your possession, etc. The claimant said, give me back my wheat and barley and spelt. And the defendant responds, on my oath, I do not have in my possession your wheat or barley or spelt. He is liable for his oath concerning each and every claim. Rabbi Yochanan says, if all of the wheat, barley, and spelt were collectively worth at least one peruta, then even if each type of grain was worth less than one peruta, their total value combines to render him liable. Rab Acha and Ravina disagree with regard to the ruling of the Mishnah. One says that when the Mishnah teaches that one is liable for his oath concerning each and every claim, it means that he is liable for 3 specific denials of wheat, barley, and spelt, and he must bring 3 separate offerings, but he is not liable for the general oath taken at the beginning of his denial. When he said, on my oath I do not have in my possession, according to the statement of Rabbi Yochanan, was said with regard to the previous case in the Mishnah, where the defendant said, on my oath I do not have in my possession. One says that he is liable also for the general oath taken at the beginning of his denial, so that the defendant is liable to bring a total of 4 offerings. Accordingly, even if the grains were worth only 1 pruta collectively, and the defendant is not liable for any of the specific oaths, the defendant remains liable to bring an offering for the general oath, according to Rabbi Yochanan. So the Gemara questions the second opinion, but didn't Rabbi Chia teach in a Baraita? If 5 people claimed from one defendant wheat, barley, and spelt, and the defendant took an oath denying each claim of each claimant, there are then 15 sin offerings here that the defendant is liable to bring. And if it is so that the defendant is liable for the general oath as well, and there would be a total of 20 sin offerings that he is liable to bring. The Gemara responds, that Tana calculated the defendant's liability for the specific oaths. He did not calculate the defendant's liability for the general oaths. The Gemara now questions the first opinion. But didn't Rabbi Chia teach in a different Baraita? There are 20 sin offerings here. Evidently, Rabbi Chia does calculate the general oaths. The Gemara responds, that Baraita does not count the general oaths either. Rather, it is referring to a different case entirely, where each of the 5 claimants claimed from the defendant a deposit and a pledge and a stolen item and a lost item. Rava raised a dilemma before Rav Nachman in a case where 5 people were suing another, and they said to him, give us back our deposit, pledge, and stolen item and lost item that are in your possession. And the defendant said to one of them, on my oath, your deposit, pledge, stolen item, and lost item are not in my possession, and neither are yours, and neither are yours, and neither are yours, and neither are yours. What is the halacha? Is he liable for only one oath for each of the 4 claimants to whom he said, and neither are yours, since these are considered general oaths? And that is the end of Daf 38 Amud Aleph.